Hello everyone, welcome to a cherry on tops YouTube hop for January 2025. What? How did that happen? Today's hop theme is what inspires you. So today I'm going to show you my top 3 ways that I am inspired to create a project. So the first way is by my photos. So you saw my photos there. They're of the Northern Lights. I went through my mixed media stash and I've chosen 4 aqua pigment colors from Brutus Monroe. Not the red, I wanted the coral. And those colors are Travel by Bubble, Orion, Turquoise, and Coral. These are the 4 colors I chose because they matched my photos the best. And I kind of want to create a custom background from my photos, kind of recreating the colors of the Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis. I've called them Northern Lights since I was a very small child, so that's what I call them. So that's what we're calling them. So I'm going to start with that background and creating my own custom background. The way that I do that is I have here water in a Brutus Monroe stencil tray, and I went ahead and grabbed a bunch of different sized paintbrushes, and I'm gonna do a wet on wet watercolor technique with the aqua pigments and some water. So I'm starting with the turquoise color, and I'm just gonna drop some onto my glass mat and add some water, and then we're just gonna start kind of doing a wash over the paper. For paper, I am using the biggest, heaviest watercolor paper that I could find in my stash. This stencil tray that I am using it's from Brutus Monroe. It's available in a Cherry on Top's shop. This is a workhorse. Ever since I have bought one in my craft room, it's inexpensive. It's super handy to have, especially if you like to do mixed media and kind of play with mixed media. I love this thing. So while it is a stencil tray, you're supposed to put your stencils in and then clean them. I also use it as, in this case, just a water container in my room because it's nice and big. I'm not going to accidentally knock it over like I knock over my coffee mugs. So it's awesome. I love it. I am doing super loose stripes, and then I am also adding drops of the pigment onto the paper, and there is a lot of water going on here. That's why I'm saying get your heaviest, thickest watercolor paper for this particular project. And I use a hot press watercolor paper that I get just on Amazon, and I love this stuff. You can add so much water to it. I'm spritzing with a mini mister. I am adding more water, more pigment when needed. And when I'm pretty sure I'm happy with it, here comes the fun part. I'm going to take another 12 by 12 sheet of the exact same paper. So I'm just moving some of the watercolor around now. Exact same paper. And I'm making myself a little watercolor sandwich. So good press down. Yep, some of the water is going to smush out, and that is totally fine. I'm giving the whole thing a really good press down, letting it sit for a little bit so that the extra pigment, all the extra water that's on the first piece of paper will now go ahead and transfer to the second piece of paper. And now I have 2 12 by 12 patterned papers. I'm also going to grab just a Kleenex tissue and blot up. You can see me here, like just kind of blot up those extra kind of puddly bits. It's totally fine. So anything that looks puddled or kind of goofy, like you're not really super sure about it, just blot it up with a piece of tissue. I'm going to do the same thing with the second one. So this is the print that we made. So none of that gorgeous pigment went to waste, and we got 2 12 by 12 sheets of watercolored paper from it. And we're going to use them both on today's layout. Next, I am going to come in with my favorite technique for making gold splatters or any kind of splatters. and that is to grab some metallic aqua pigments from Brutus Monroe and a fan brush. This is the best way to make gold splatters. I love this. This is it. This is how you do it. This is how I do it all the time. The splatters are so, you can control them. They are, you can, kind of get big ones or little ones depending on how much of the pigment you put on your brush. This is like the best way to do splatters. And then I took a piece of paper and smushed it down on top of whatever was left over. And then and all of that pigment can then soak into that paper, and I have this gorgeous gold paper that I can use for something else later. Once I have this dry, you can see here how it looks. I can kind of decide which paper I want to use for my photos. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to kind of, ultimately, I decide on the one I'm putting down right now because I love how those bigger splotches look with the photo right there. That's the money shot. I am going to use that second one, but I'm going to use it with my second way that I am inspired to create with, and that is by pulling out a new product. So I just received these Honeybee Stamps Be Happy alphabet dies. I think they're so pretty, and they're like a gorgeous size and font for titles. So I'm going to take some scrap black cardstock. I'm going to take the half of the other mixed media 12 by 12 paper that we made, and I'm going to make myself letter stickers to go with my title. So what I did was for each letter of my title, I cut 2 of the dies in black and 1 in that pattern paper. So the first black layer I'm going to line up right underneath my letter, but the second black layer you're going to see in a minute, I'm going to kind of offset it. So I'm just making sure it's perfectly lined up. Then I'm going to take the second letter and still with the glue and just kind of offset it a little bit to create kind of a drop shadow, a black drop shadow. And this is going to help it kind of pop off of our mixed media background when we create our page. I love how this turned out. It turned out so good. So tip number 1, be inspired by your photos. Tip number 2, be inspired by new product in your craft room you haven't opened yet. And tip number 3, the third way I am completely inspired is with kits. So for years and years and years, I have curated kits from my stash. I've used stash kits in my creative endeavors and in scrapbooking for a really long time. For a number of years, I have hosted and organized the series How to Kill a Kit with Style, which is still around, but now I have passed the torch to my friend Jen Gaines. She's doing all of that now, but I did that for years. I have always been a fan of stash kits, and starting this fall, I have started using the wish list feature at a cherry on top to curate kits of my own. I call these kits vintage vibe kits, and you release a new one every 6 to 8 weeks, and then each kit I make it so that you can mix it with your stash and then get at least 6 layouts from that kit. I've also set myself a budget of keeping the kits right around $50 worth of product, and some of the product you can use again and again and again. So that's what I'm going to use today. I have Vintage Vibes kit number 2, and that is what I'm going to use today for most of the products and embellishments and different things. So those are my 3 best ways to be inspired. Be inspired by elements in your photo. Be inspired by new products in your craft room that you haven't opened or used yet. And be inspired by having a curated kit of products ready to go. You've already matched them. You've already done the work. And now you can just pull that kit out, find some photos, and create easily. Whether that is a kit from your stash, whether you choose a monthly kit club to be subscribed to, or you can always curate a kit like I have been doing. There's so many. I know Shamel does kits. Like there are lots of ways to either purchase or create kits from your stash. So I went ahead and backed my photos in black just to give them a pop off the background. I love how the background turned out and how it sets my photos off. I think that turned out beautiful. I'm going to use some of the elements from my Vintage Vibes Kit 2 to embellish. So I had these adorable kind of clear flourish stickers, and I was like, oh, these would look amazing because they're clear. They're going to look amazing because they're going to let that mixed media background kind of come to the forefront. And so I chose two that I really liked, and I'm going to place them to kind of finish off those strips there beside my photos. I went through my ephemera packs that are part of the kit, and I chose a couple that I thought would work really well. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of audition my title. So I know where I kind of want my title to be. I'm going to put the letters down, and I'm thinking to myself, I think I want something behind them. I feel like it's easily readable, but I also feel like I want to add a little bit of something behind them. So part of my Vintage Vibes Kit 2 is these stitching rub-ons from 49 and Market. I'm going to say it right this time. And I'm going to take a couple of those stitching rub-ons and adhere them across that part of the paper where I want my letters to be. And that's just going to give it a little something extra behind the letters. I also added one of the rub-ons to the left of my journaling spot because I want to add a cluster there. And I thought that having that second area with the stitching would kind of ground that embellishment cluster. These rub-ons go on super easy. Like they just kind of fall onto the page. You just have to burnish them just a little tiny bit. And now that I have that kind of messy stitching, I'm going to get a T-square ruler and I'm going to line my letters up straight and adhere them to my page. Most of this kit, which is my Vintage Vibes Kit number 2, is still in stock over at A Cherry on Top. So I will link all of the kit, which is a whole wish list, in the description box below. Just be super mindful if you purchase anything off of the wish list or if you buy a kit, be very mindful and careful to double and triple check your shipping to make sure that your stuff is being shipped to you and that it doesn't accidentally get shipped to me. And if you want to know more about these kits, I have a whole playlist on my channel with them. For the lights part of my title, so my title is just going to be Northern Lights, I am using these puffy letter stickers from Maggie Holmes. I think these stickers might be the best stickers American Crafts has ever done. They're super sticky. They are super puffy. They are absolutely gorgeous. Like they are so good that I am going to order another package of them because they're fabulous, which is so odd because I say this 100 times, like you have one job, stick to the paper. These stick and they're puffy and they are amazing. Just, now that I've gone crazy about the stickers, that's okay. So my plan is to add very minimal embellishing to this layout. I've chosen a couple of die cuts from the 2 die cut packs that are part of the kit. I chose a couple of them. You can see here, like I'm cutting some of them up and tucking them into different places just because I don't want to add too much, and I want to be able to kind of stretch some of my favorite elements and icons from these die cut packs into as many projects as I can. I definitely wanted to add a journaling spot to this layout, and I also am going to add the date using those stickers. So here is the layout pretty much done. I wanted to add some fun little accents, so I grabbed some gems from my stash. I'm adding a little drop of glue and then adding these little gems just to certain areas of those flourishes to give them a little bit more detail. I love my details. Be sure to head down to the description box to see who is next on today's hop. You can find all the information down there, and don't forget to leave a comment on this video for a chance to win a gift certificate to the shop. Yeah, head down to the description box. Everything you need will be there. The hop lineup, the directions to be entered in the drawing for the gift certificate, all the products I used linked up and ready to go for you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.